To that, Kieran?
I think it was a great experience. When it first started moving, or when you reported it was moving, the bizarre thing for me was that I didn't feel it moving, just because the situation is so meditative and you're in such an unnatural position that even when it wasn't moving, I felt like, oh, is it moving? Isn't it moving? I can't really tell. And it was only when it became more pronounced that I was like, okay, it is moving, and even lifted my fingers off.
This is the first time we have ever attempted table tipping, and the results have, it has to be said, stunned us all. During the night, we monitored all of the rooms, and members of our team did investigate the area surrounding the standing stones. No further evidence could be found, but with so many incidents of what appeared to be some form of communication, it really has been an eventful night at Kinnitty Castle.
Well, this is the end of the most incredible 24 hours at Kinnitty Castle. I've been to lots of places, but I don't think I've ever had quite such positive responses. One of the best, I think, was the fact that Carl went up to the Geraldine room, and although not a lot happened to him actually in that room, while he was in the corridor, he was actually touched on the face by something, and then the incredible saga is the only way I can refer to it, of the original part of the monastery, the cells down below. And I started asking questions, and I was getting a response.
Just communicating, all right. He's communicating, Richard.
So I went down again with the girls, with Kerry and Rachel. And oh my God, all hell let loose, because it started to respond again. If you're still there, bang on the ceiling. It was so positive, and I have now such fond memories of Kinnitty Castle that I'll definitely be back.
By far the most interesting thing that happened at Kinnitty Castle was the auditory phenomena experienced down in the gym. At one particular point, Richard and Derek were actually communicating with the knocking sound that was occurring, believing it to be a spirit. Also later on, some of the girls actually went down with Richard. There was knocking heard. It appeared to have come from above. However, Carl and myself went to an adjoining room where there was a sauna, and on the back of the sauna there appeared to be a boiler of some sort with a delay timer on it. So for me, that's a satisfactory explanation of the auditory phenomena that occurred. During the investigation, Carl actually felt as though somebody had literally taken their hand across his face. We've got to be very, very careful of phenomena reported in this sort of way, especially in a known haunted location where it is very, very dark, and anything that happens, we immediately attribute it to something paranormal or to ghost intervention.
I'm not running away from it.
It could have been as innocent as cobwebs or insects or something that brushed past his face.
Please move the table.
In Kinnitty Castle, table tipping was attempted. There was a slight moving of the table at one point. However, I have to be a little apprehensive about whether we can attribute the movement to anything paranormal. You've got to be very careful when a group are standing round a table to ensure that everybody trusts each other. And unfortunately, there was one member of the group, Con, who people just weren't familiar with.
What's that?
Richard and Derek reported seeing a figure move by one of the windows when they were down in the gymnasium. The first instant natural explanation that I have is that it was actually somebody walking by the window. The crew went out and checked immediately and realised there was nobody outside, so we can rule out that explanation. Another effect that may be at work is being aware of what Richard and Derek have seen, then looking at the footage and reading into the footage the apparition or the ghostly figure. However, I'd like to look at the footage a lot more closely and find for myself if there is actually a figure there.
From bumps and bangs to physical movement, how close has Kinnitty Castle brought the most haunted team to supernatural spirits? Until next time, sleep tight.
Stay tuned for more from the new series with details of what's happening next week in a moment, and some incredible footage from inside Kinnitty Castle in a Most Haunted Extra next.